today I'm going to be showing you how to make cake pops. We're going to make the cake batter from scratch, and then I'm going to show you how to use the Baby Cakes Cake Pop Maker. If you've never seen one of these before, they're fabulous. They do come in other brands, and I'll show you how to decorate them and whatnot. Now, you're going to be making a smaller scale of these for you and the people at your table to share. It's your practice cake pop lab. But probably throughout the semester, you'll be making thousands of them. And when I say that, I'm not kidding. When I say thousands, you'll be making thousands, and they're very time consuming, and you really need to work in an assembly line to get them done quickly, or else you'll be making these for weeks. Okay? Usually in lab, when we do these for like a big catering event, we may not make the cake from scratch. We sometimes will just buy, large industrial boxes of cake mix, and we'll use that A, because it's quicker, and B, sometimes it's just cheaper too. But for you guys, you're going to make homemade cake. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is, in a bowl, I'm going to mix together. I'm going to use 2 bowls. So wipe this out. I'm going to whisk together my dry ingredients. So I have my flour, and I'm using just 1 cup of all-purpose. We use cake flour, so it's lighter and fluffier, excuse me. And then to that, also my baking powder, which is my leavening agent to help make it puff up or rise. And my salt, which I've already combined with my baking powder. And I'm just going to mix this together and set it to the side. And then in a medium bowl, I'm going to beat my egg. Oop, I got a shell in there. And then I'm just going to beat it with a wire whisk, like so. So this is a review from Pastry Chef. You measure dry ingredients, liquid ingredients separate, and then combine. So you would have learned, this is like the muffin method almost. No, we're making muffins, but it's the muffin method of mixing. And then to this, I'm going to add vanilla extract and almond extract, a ½ teaspoon of vanilla, ¼ teaspoon of almond, and just imitation almond extract for flavor. Okay, so that's all mixed. And then I'm going to add a ½ cup of just regular granulated sugar to my egg mixture. Now we know that when we measure sugar, we use a dry measuring cup, but it's actually always usually combined with the liquid ingredients because it melts or dissolves into that liquid. Just like so. And then to that, I'm going to beat or mix my flour mixture into, making a mess here. Add that. And then I'm going to add a ½ cup of heavy cream. So these are very, very rich. And finish mixing that up. Like so. Get all that. It should be pretty smooth. You shouldn't see any lumps. It's a thicker batter because it's homemade. When you use the box cake mix, it's a little bit more runny, looser. And what I'm going to do now, there's a couple of options if you wanted to have fun with this. So when you're in lab, you can experiment. Since we always make these for like live-in events, you can use blue and yellow food coloring. So what you would do is divide this up, dye half blue, dye half yellow, and then you would kind of layer it, and then when you scoop it, you don't want to mix it or turn green, and then you can put it into your Baby Cakes machine. You can do other colors. You can put sprinkles in here for funfetti, so we can try that right now. I'm just going to use about a tablespoon, so I'm going to put some in for funfetti. And and they kind of just cook, the sprinkles will cook off, but it just makes it something extra and fun. So you can, whatever your teacher provides to you, you can, or you can bring something from home, whatever you want to do. Just make sure it's okay with your teacher. Just like that, and those sprinkles will melt as it cooks in the cake pop machine. Alright, so each table is going to have, we have 6 of these cake pop machines, and these are larger than probably what you may have seen at, like, they sell them at Kohl's. We order them directly from Baby Cakes, and there's 12 slots, okay? So you want to make sure you preheat this first, okay? Because if you don't preheat it, it's going to take forever to cook. Then what you are going to do is you want to season this up. So I'll be right back because I forgot mine. Alright, so I have greased this, and I actually used some butter, and I just cut it in half, and it actually formed the circle, and I went through like this. Now, you can do that, or obviously spray is a lot easier. The problem with spray is we will be using these when we are making cake pops for all the advanced catering periods, and maybe even more. So sometimes these machines are on for like 4 or 5 hours. So if you keep using spray each time, which you need to do, because you need to grease it every time you put cake pops in, you need to avoid getting it everywhere else. It stays on, and even with scrubbing it, it still stays on. So you need to clean the machine as you go so we can keep them up and use them over and over and over. Alright? So butter, spray, just make sure you're keeping it clean as you go. Alright. Now there's a couple of ways that you can fill each of the little holes. In the actual cake pop box, this nicer machine comes with a bottle. So you could just fill your cake mix into the bottle, and it makes it really, really easy to distribute them into here. However, you're going to keep it going, so you'll be filling this all the time. You may not find that helpful. If you find that helpful, then by all means, use the bottle. What I find pretty simple is just to keep the cake mix into the bowl, because especially when you're making a large amount, you have the big bowl, and then you just use the purple portion scoop, and that pretty much fills the bottom part. So make sure it's even, and then you are going to go through. You don't want it to overflow too much, and then you go through, and you just start filling each cavity. Now if you do overflow it, all that's going to happen is when you close your machine, it's going to flatten out. And that's fine, you can usually fix them. So don't be like, no one's going to get mad at you, but you want to try to make sure it's even. Now if you put too less, you're just not going to have a perfect sphere. You can already see that with my leavening agent in here, they're spilling over a little bit. And that's fine. You'll see when it comes out what I mean by how it spills over too much. They're not ruined, it's just not exactly what you're looking for. So now we're going to close this, and then this one you flip over, and you're going to wait about about 4-ish minutes. Now as you keep making batches, the first batch is going to take the longest. The next batches, they're going to go very quickly. And but you don't want to keep opening it, or else what happens is the ball will come open and then it's ruined. The machine also came with these fabulous little forks, and to help you take them off. So we'll be right back. So we're back, and the cake pops I think are pretty much done. So I'm going to flip it over and open them up, and you can see that it did spill over. Now some kids are like, oh no, I ruined them. No, it's fine. So when you take these out, be very careful. And you're just going to put them on a tray or a hotel pan because you want to wait for them to cool. I'm going to put on a glove just because it's very hot. Be very careful. You can kind of see I'm starting to be able to pull this back. Probably easier with my hand. Take them out. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm taking them off, and you can see here that there's all this extra. So what you're going to want to do is just let these cool, okay? Now as this part cools, it gets like very hard and it's easier for you just to crumble off. So let these cool, and in the meantime, before you put another batch in, especially if you're switching flavors, because sometimes we're making like 3 different flavors at once, you want to keep a damp towel right by you, and you want to be very careful when you're doing this. You're just going to go through and you're going to clean out each of the crevices, or else what happens is you get an oil fat buildup, and it's impossible to clean up over time. So it's important that you're wiping between each use. Even though you're going to do the same exact thing, wipe them down, and it will just keep this very clean. And it will save you time at the end when you have to clean the whole machine. Okay? Especially when you're cleaning up between period, you don't want to come into a mess, and neither does anybody else. Okay, so here's some oil dripped down. So you would run this through the sanitizer, not every time, but at the end of the period, etc. Alright? So now this should be hot enough, or cool enough, excuse me. You're just going to peel these away, like so. See, it's very hard. It breaks right off. They're perfect. Now, mine are a little well done, and that's totally fine, because you're going to be coating these with hot chocolate, and when the hot chocolate touches them, it like instantly makes these very soft and just fabulous. And these are one of our most popular with the Eagle Pops. They're very popular because they're just so cute, and you can just do so many things with them. Okay, I'm going to take these off. Almost done. So usually what your teacher's probably going to have you do is, when you have an order for these, you'll just keep making these cake balls over and over and over and over and over, and then the next day is when you'll actually start decorating them. So I'm going to let these cool in the fridge, because if I start decorating them right now with my cake stick, they're going to slide right off, and then they're going to be garbage. So we'll be back when they have cooled completely to cool. Alright, so our cake pops they're completely cool. They're ready to start the chocolate process. Now the first thing you are going to do, and I've done it to a bunch already, I'm just going to show you 2, is you want to adhere the stick, and I'm going to show you how to do that. There's a couple ways that you can do that. The easiest way I find is you put chocolate in a bottle, and you literally just dunk this into the cake pop, and you fill it with chocolate, like so. And then you take your stick, and you just insert it, and then you put it right on here to cool. So we'll do it again. I can do that again, or if you don't have a squirt bottle, this way works also. I just have some chocolate right here. Put chocolate on a stick. I just kind of paint a little of that on there, and then I stick it in, just like so, and I'm good. Okay? And then you would put this in the refrigerator and let it set. It just takes a couple of minutes just to harden up that chocolate. Now these have already set, so they are good to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dunk it. Now, just adhere an outer coat of chocolate. And then I can start decorating them depending on how you want to go about doing this. So I'm going to be right back, because I'm just going to grab a little. Alright, so we are ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix up my chocolate, and you just dunk this in, and you just make sure you just pour, move the chocolate around so it coats it. And then when you take it out, this chocolate's a little thick. You just kind of dab off the excess, like so. Tap it, and then you're going to set it here to dry, okay? And you keep going. Now, you can use this to hold it, but this only holds 12. So depending on what your teacher has, sometimes you use styrofoam, sometimes there's styrofoam sheets, wooden planks, etc. Now, when you're doing this, depending on how they need to be decorated, so say I wanted to, if you're doing it this way, then those are ready to be drizzled, and I'm going to show you how to drizzle those, but sometimes it's just easier to do sprinkles. So, if you're going to do sprinkles, you're going to do sprinkles, then you can simply just take some type of, I have a plate here, and just lightly sprinkle some of these on. Let it hold, because then you can use these sprinkles again. and then you're ready to go. Set that right in there. Alright, and you'll keep coating these, and then I'll show you how to drizzle these once they're... So our cake pops have cooled, and they are ready to be drizzled or decorated, and there's a couple different ways that you can do this. For the sake of this demo, I'm just using yellow and blue. I have white. I think in the directions it has you using white for your practice, just white and chocolate, but you can kind of decorate these in any way. The traditional way we do it is just the drizzle, which looks just like so, and I'll show you how to do that. You could also do like a rose look. Now this does not look as visually appealing as I would want it to, but just to give you a general idea. You could also do like polka dots, and again this one looks kind of funky, but it's because the chocolate was seizing when I was putting it on, but you can, your chocolate will probably be looser, so you can do something like that. Alright, so let me show you how to drizzle. I'm going to take one of these off. Now sometimes the chocolate drips down, and that's fine. You can just take it off before you drizzle it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blue, and when I start drizzling, I rotate my cake pop round so I can get it all over the sphere of the cake pop. Okay? So then I'm going to go with yellow, and sometimes it sticks, and that's fine. You just do the same exact thing. Make sure you have something underneath. Okay? So it looks like so. I've seen it in a couple other ways where you can just take this and over the top you just drizzle back and forth. You can do it like that. I like it better like this, but if you don't have enough time or you don't have enough chocolate, you can do it like that. It kind of just depends on the time available, how many you're making. Obviously if you're making about 500, this will do. If you're only making 50, that will do. Okay? So now what you'll do is you'll set this in one of the fridges to set, and then you are going to, if we were getting this ready for a catering event, you would put it in like a big basket or a tin or something. For your practice lab, you're going to be using just a small flower pot, and then what you would do is you'd put styrofoam in here, and we will provide you with white shred. If you wanted color shred, you could cut up napkins or you can cut up pieces of paper. That's on you. We will provide you with white shred. That's it, okay? Then you put the shred right on the top. You only use a little, and then once these have cooled and set, completely cold, then you would arrange them. When you're putting an arrangement together, it's best to start in the center and then work your way out so it looks more like a symmetrical, like bouquet and whatnot. If you start just placing them randomly, it doesn't look as nice. Alright? So have fun with this. Enjoy. Thank you.